Okay, so Act 2, Part 1. So what was the bridge, the halfway point in Act 2, Part 1?
He's hired by an opera troupe.
Oh. Okay. I put that it was the student protests was the act, the bridge 1 moment, which comes at 44 minutes. And I put that because it was a moment of sort of action, which is not so much his story, but it's something that's going to impact upon him. What about the halfway point? Although in this film it's not actually the halfway point because it's a long film, but the 1 hour mark, which is still an act ending.
Yeah, I mean he's kind of raped a rut by this rich guy, and then he has to take care of a baby, but then we don't see the baby. So it was like he's raped and he adopts a kid, a baby. So, but then the baby disappeared. He's not there anymore.
Yeah, they find a baby.
And the master says you need to take care of that baby from now.
Maybe that's the baby that becomes his young assistant later on. I'm not sure, but the ages don't seem to work. Well, he gets molested by the old guy at 41 minutes. So I wasn't putting that one because because the other thing to do with the bridge, the student protest, is it's at just before that at 43 minutes where we suddenly meet them as now adults. We've gone from their childhood to their now famous decadent actors. And into that decadence comes the protests, the rise of the new communism, there's going to be a new era. So, but for the halfway point, I put his friend has met the whore, Juxian, and he sees his friend is in love with this whore, which outrages him because he's in love with a friend, and also the whore reminds him of the mother who gave him away. So I put that the halfway point was like anger at friend with whore reminds him of whore mother. Because the key part of the story, it's unrequited love set against the backdrop of political change and cultural change. But so I wondered about that. Okay, Act 2, Part 2. Okay, the second bridge, the 75-minute mark, halfway through the third stage.
I think I will let you go with this one because for me, I got so lost that I've found like 6 acts. So
okay.
It's so messy for me. I didn't know it, but
yeah. I mean, again, by following the time count, you can usually find out what the act endings are based on the time count, and usually they are pretty significant. So Bridge 2 at 75 minutes, the hero, Dunzi or Dunyi or whatever he's called, he and the friend kiss. So that there's a moment of hope for his unrequited relationship with his friend. So that our hero plays the concubine and his friend is the king. And they kiss for a moment. And then we get the Japanese invasion follows on top of that. So that's what I was thinking. Just that it was a kind of a moment of hope for him. Plot point 2, which was normally the moment of truth, but in this long film, it's not really a moment of truth, and it's more like a halfway point. So it's 90 minutes. What happens?
His friend get married, I think?
Yeah, well, I think that the actual plot point follows on from the friend getting married. It's that the friends then part. Juxian, the whore bride of his friend, says, let's have a child and, disappear or whatever. And so at that point, the two friends go their separate ways.
Yeah.
Then we get the extra act I mean, it's got an extra act, I think, because the screenplay was written by the person who wrote the novel. And so the novelist has tried to feed lots of stuff in which doesn't work. I mean, even you read the great novels, the Dostoevskys, there's full of stuff which you can get rid of. And you wait for the plot to reoccur, you know.